You might be wondering how to keep so many landmark Supreme Court cases straight for your UPSC preparation, especially when each seems to change the rules of governance. By the end of this video, you will be completely clear about the core holdings, their constitutional basis, and why they matter for UPSC. I will explain these cases in simple chunks, starting from rights and moving to governance, giving one clear image for each case. And towards the end, we will understand a key idea that most UPSC aspirants miss. First, imagine the Constitution as a rule book and each case as a referee's decisive call that changes how the game is played. Unni Krishnan, 1993. The court held that the right to education is part of Article 21, the right to life, and children are entitled to free education till age 14. This ruling led to the 86th Amendment and Article 21A, and later the RTE Act 2009, which you must link in answers. Think of Unni Krishnan as the spark that moved education from a directive principle to a fundamental right for children. Next, the second judge's case, 1993. It reshaped judicial appointments by giving the Chief Justice of India primacy, introducing the idea of concurrence among senior judges. This decision began the collegium system, which is crucial when you discuss judicial independence and separation of powers in UPSC answers. S.R. Bommai, 1994. This case put strong checks on Article 356, saying proclamations of President's rule are open to judicial review, and the centre must produce material justifying its action. The Bommai case is your go-to example when answering questions on federalism, misuse of central power, and the basic structure doctrine. Vishaka, 1997. The court read Articles 15 and 21 to frame guidelines preventing sexual harassment at the workplace until Parliament legislated on the issue. The Vishaka guidelines filled a legislative gap and later paved the way for the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act 2013, a classic example of judicial activism meeting legislative action. Vineet Narain, 1997. The court ordered greater autonomy for investigative agencies and gave directions to make the CBI and ED less partisan. This case prompted reforms and the CVC Act 2003 and is often cited in questions on accountability and institutional autonomy. Association for Democratic Reforms, 2002. This judgment said, voters have a right to know about candidates' criminal records, assets, and qualifications under Article 19(1)(a). ADR led to mandatory affidavits for candidates and is vital for essays or mains answers on electoral reforms and transparency. TMA Pai Foundation, 2002. It clarified the rights of minority educational institutions under Article 30 and struck a balance between regulation and autonomy. The case shows how the state can regulate standards but cannot unduly interfere with minority institutions' right to administer. Important for education policy questions. Naveen Jindal, 2004. The court held that flying the national flag with dignity is a form of free speech under Article 19. This case illustrates expressive freedoms and limits tied to respect and non-commercial use of national symbols. Prakash Singh, 2006. The court gave 7 directives for police reforms to curb political interference and improve accountability, like fixed tenure for DGPs and separation of investigation from law and order duties. Use Prakash Singh when you discuss police modernization, law and order, and administrative reforms in mains answers. M. Nagaraj, 2006. The court upheld reservations in promotions for SCs and STs with conditions like identifying backwardness and ensuring efficiency under Article 335. Nagaraj is central to reservation debates, linking constitutional amendments, the 50% ceiling, creamy layer concepts, and the Indra Sawhney precedent. For UPSC, remember which articles these cases interpret, like Articles 21, 19, 15, 30, 356, and the directive principles, because direct prelim and mains questions probe those links. A quick way to remember. Group cases by theme: rights and education, institutional independence, federal checks, workplace rights, electoral transparency, minority rights, police reform, and reservation law. Use simple visuals in answers. A school for Unni Krishnan, a bench of judges for second judges, and a broken baton for Bommai to recall holdings fast. When writing answers, pair each case with its impact and any subsequent amendment or statute, like Unni Krishnan to Article 21A and RTE, or Vineet Narain to the CVC Act. Also note judicial techniques: reading directive principles into fundamental rights, issuing guidelines until law is made, and laying down procedural checks. These patterns often form question angles. This concept is very important for your exams because it shows how the judiciary shapes policy and governance, a favorite UPSC theme in both prelims and mains. To recap briefly, Unni Krishnan on education, second judges on appointments, Bommai on Article 356, Vishaka on workplace safety, Vineet Narain on agency autonomy, ADR on electoral transparency, TMA Pai on minority rights, Jindal on flag speech, Prakash Singh on police reforms, and Nagaraj on reservation promotions. Each case changed either rights interpretation, institutional structure, or the balance between state power and individual liberty. And you should link that change to constitutional articles in answers. Keep practicing short one-line summaries for each case and pairing them with the article and impact. This technique makes recall easy under exam pressure. If you can remember one image and one impact per case, you can quickly convert a vague recollection into a strong UPSC answer. You're doing the right thing by focusing on landmark judgments, and steady, structured revision will make these cases second nature. If you want, EduRev has curated topic-wise summaries and practice questions that follow this exact linking method to improve recall and answer structure. Join the EduRev course to get concise notes, MCQs, and mains practice targeted to these landmark cases and their constitutional angles. Keep revising, make those one-line images, and remember, the Constitution is a living document shaped by these cases, and you can master their stories. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video where we map these judgments to practice questions and model answers.